Welcome back to Summoner's Rift. Fnatic 1-0 up against G2. Winner of this series advances to the Championship Series on Sunday next weekend. And the loser plays on Saturday against either Mad Lions or Rogue. Mickey on your screen right now. When we got off camera, Ender and Vedius were ranting. And they said, if Mickey keeps playing Braum, the series is over.
It wasn't quite that dramatic.
Oh, it was. He is playing the Leona this time around. And we'll see whether or not he's going to find the initiative.
So I think like the bigger conversation, which is something that Ender talked about, was that number one, when you're playing scaling junglers, having a strong 2v2 is really important. But I also think that when you just look at G2, giving Mickey the space to roam is also very important. And when you're playing something like a Braum, it makes it harder for him to impact the map. But on a Leona, you have a lot more playmaking tools. You can match Hylissang on his roams. My only concern is how they stack up against a Jhin Nautilus, because this is a very powerful 2 versus 2 lane. It has a lot of CC setup, and Selfmade can also look for ganks to try and shut Perkz and Mickey down.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at this 2 versus 2, Nautilus offers so much base damage that his early all-ins, of course, are going to be very powerful. Combined with if they're playing around Reckless's 4th shot, like those burst trades are going to be very, very good. And already with the early pathing, Jankos starting on his bot side, moving up towards the top half of the map. There's not going to be support for G2 right off the bat, so they're going to definitely not want to get jumped on too early by Hilly.
See a bit of trading going back and forth already in the 2 versus 2. Also keeping my eyes on the mid lane as a hook hits a minion.
Well, a lot of damage back and forth. Punch to the face and Hilly, and Reckless and Perkz still trading a lot though.
Yeah, I like this from G2. They see Reckless still on, 4 shots remaining, so they go in for the trade. They trade 2 autos. Once Reckless gets down towards the 4th, that's where they're going to step away. Fnatic now have control over the wave and can push this one in as well. But when we talk about the priority in the bottom lane, it's less about this initial level 2, and it's more about looking which lane gets to take the first reset. And then where do they go? Because while G2 are a team that love to run Mickey into the mid lane, shut down the enemy mid laner, Fnatic are a team that Hylissang, he just sometimes loves to run into the top lane, and a Jace that's always going to be pushing has to be especially mindful of a Nautilus run.
I'm also interested to see how this mid lane matchup plays out. Obviously the reverse of what we had in game number 1. And pre-level 6, Caps was able to bully Nemesis a fair amount, generate a CS advantage. Now in the inverse, we'll see whether or not he can maintain this advantage that he's built up, Vedius.
So early game, this is a very Orianna-favored matchup. The biggest thing you have to be concerned about is your mana usage. Being too aggressive can very quickly burn through your mana bar. And so being able to push this in, I wouldn't be surprised if Caps looks for a bit of a recall now, but it looks like he's going to stay on the offensive. He wants to bully Nemesis as much as possible as the junglers have found each other.
Jankos is going to flash forward. Defensive flash from Selfmade, so they end up trading 1-for-1. Hex flash for Jankos, though, so he'll come out a little bit more advantageous.
Yep, this is exactly what you want to see from the early game powerhouse jungle of the set, is you play for the double scuttle crab. So he finds Selfmade in the bot side river. He can take this crab, then sprint up towards the top side of the map as well and get that done. Meanwhile, in the bottom lane, Reckless went for a very early recall, itemized into the boots, but Hylissang was just sitting here trying to hold the wave, didn't find a rotation himself, which is something we do see from a lot of supporters.
I am actually surprised the Reckless went for such an early base. I'm curious as to whether or not that was because he took a bad trade, or if that was a choice for him to get those early boots in. Either way, you can see that it's still actually very close in the farm, so the timing worked out for Reckless, that's for sure. Will lose a little bit of HP, but for the most part, they are good. Just notice that he is running the fleet footwork as well, so having that extra bit of sustain in a sustain lane is very valuable. Selfmade will run into Jankos.
Wonder's going to flash away already, use that Mercurial Hammer and
no flash,
smack
remember.
Whippo away. Jankos stepping forward. Whippo's got flash available. Selfmade seems to be safe for now. Jankos won't be able to chuck out the spells.
Oh, no.
Not enough damage now. He's in trouble. Gets tagged down by those blooming blows. The acceleration gate will buy some time. That's the taunt flash into Whippo. He manages to pick up first blood for Fnatic.
Fnatic just playing that so well right there. Selfmade, even without the flash, showing how he can abuse the movement speed to get away from Jankos. Jankos committed the E, the pullback onto Whippo, and now Cap's going for the dive.
Absolutely is. Already built himself up an 8 CS advantage, forcing Nemesis out of lane at 5 minutes in the inverse of the previous game. Off to a strong start.
Yeah, I mean, this is just, we have to go back to the top lane because this is a lane that Wonder was winning, still has a big CS lead in, G2 need to pop off in the early game. They need to have winning lanes coming out with CS leads, and to then give an early kill over to Whippo playing around the top lane. This is exactly what happened to Rogue when they played against Fnatic. The early game kills going towards the scaling junglers on the top side of the map. This could be a problem for them.
And I thought that at first this was going to be a great play for G2, because notice that Wonder was actually hovering towards the river because he knows that Jankos was on his way. And if Jankos could have gone on top of Selfmade, that would have been a kill, but of course he doesn't have his flash, so they decide to commit to Whippo, and then you realize, wait, there's an entire minion wave also hitting onto both G2 members. Selfmade on Lilia, it's very good at kind of keeping distance, poking you down, and then Whippo's like, okay, I have the flash taunt, I also have the passive, the Spirit's Refuge to mitigate all the damage. And then there's nothing that Wonder can do to stop this, so Fnatic is able to walk away with first blood.
Yeah, there are a couple really important things too. I feel like Jankos' Haymaker goes way wide, wasn't able to land the true damage, bonus damage there in the center of it. And also, Jankos had not been back to base. Because he played for the double Scuttle Crabs, he didn't have any sort of items, so I believe Selfmade had just come off of a reset with the blue smite.
Very interested to see how Whippo can play around the Stand United. Just hit level 6, by the way, while he is down in CS to Wonder's Jace. The first blood helping out, and down in the bottom lane, Hylissang was forced to use that flash. There was some threat coming in from Jankos. It doesn't equate to anything more, but CS advantage for Perks, for Caps, for Wonder in the first 6 minutes of the game.
Jankos is not allowed to slow down in this early game. You know Selfmade already has a tiny CS lead. It's only going to get larger. The Swiftness boots were completed, so Selfmade can really zoom around this map. So watch Jankos. He'll always be trying to play for the Scuttle Crabs and play off of Mickey. Now that G2 have pushed in the bot lane, Perks is low on mana. You would expect Perks to go for a reset, and that's why Mickey is waiting in the fog 4 to make something happen. But this is where I would have loved to see G2 perhaps go in, get some deep vision inside Selfmade's jungle to set up for future roams.
Looks like they're not going to do that for now, though. And I actually have my eyes on mid lane. Nemesis hit level 6, Selfmade 2. They have their eyes on Orianna. No cleanse, remember?
Well, Swelcy doesn't find a target, and no lullaby from Selfmade means Caps just sidesteps the engage.
Yeah, but then look at this. Selfmade is going to walk into the enemy jungle here. He knows the blue buff is going to be respawning. I think this is a good move from Caps. We'll walk over and probably chuck the ball. Let's try and see if Selfmade's on this one. So they have the information. Jankos is on the dragon. We'll end up giving up the blue buff, I feel, with Whippo walking down, but G2 will be able to trade for the early objective.
Yeah, look at the map as well. Whippo moved first. Nemesis able to push that wave in. Now Caps has to go and catch. As he does exactly that, the blue buff does not get secured, but 7 minutes 45 in, Jankos picks up the first strike.
Yeah, I respect this from Jankos. I think that Caps was willing to sacrifice a bit of farm there, knowing that he has that advantage already in the 1 versus 1 in order to get that first Cloud Drake. And the fact that G2 can already start working towards this, I think is great. I think right now, if you're G2, the concern you have is, okay, Wonder's not that far ahead in the 1v1 matchup top lane. Mid is also okay. And I think that Fnatic, what could have been a very rough, difficult early laning phase, considering the advantage that G2 have in both mid and top, has actually been mitigated. So the fact that Fnatic is very even, 8.5 minutes into the game, I think Fnatic is pretty cool
happy.
Yeah, I do really like how Wonder was holding the wave in the top lane for just a moment. Does now push it out, and I think Hylissang was already on the rotation up here, so that Selfmade can secure the Rift Tail. This is what I was talking about. When Hylissang gets back to base first, he's able to move. Meanwhile, Mickey spent a lot of time bot lane. While Perks was going back to base himself, he was there to try and make sure that he could hold the wave in front of the tower. So that means Fnatic get control over the river and should be able to find this Herald and maybe a kill.
Jankos gets caught by the dredge line. Nemesis has got the ultimate available. Support now coming in from Caps and Mickey. Solar Flare available, and the Herald is the target. It's going to get pushed away. G2 able to force Fnatic out and secure the objective.
Exactly. The difference here is that, well, Hylissang came topside, Reckless went bot, the duo of Perks and Mickey ran up there. So Fnatic were trying to sneak it out from under G2 and get a win on both sides of the map with their bot lane able to farm and the Herald on top of it, but G2, working as a team there, are able to push them off.
Interestingly, we actually saw Wonder move from top down into mid, and it looks like that they actually wanted to send Perks straight from mid into bot, but what happened from Fnatic was they had Nautilus roam this way and Akali roam this way, which meant that if Perks tried to go through his own half of the jungle, he would have just been obliterated. So good awareness from G2 to not get caught off, and I think that Fnatic's response by moving to the bot side has now given 2 free plates to Reckless, which is great because they know that G2 does have the Rift Herald, and this will make it easy to be able to trade a bit.
And that's exactly what you want to see. Here we go, Mickey going in.
That's the flash engage. Solar Flare as well. Remember, Hylissang does not have flash available. Teleport coming out here from G2 as well. The dredge line going to get Hilly to safety. Stand United was channeled by Whippo. He's still got that TP, acceleration gate, and the shock blast going out. And Jankos, despite being tagged by the ball, escapes. Advantage Fnatic. I think they use less to survive.
Yeah, I mean, this is an anxious G2 really trying to force there. Mickey said, I'm gonna flash, I'm gonna engage, we're gonna make this play happen, but they don't exactly find the mark. There's no flank ward. Wonder has to come in behind the rest of the team, and I understand G2's perspective here. Like, Jankos needs to get things done on this set to make it work out, but they have to come up with a better effort than that because that is not working for them.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised as to why Wonder even TP'd in that fight, because I think the moment that Bwipo's ultimate came through, G2 were already disengaging, and then G2 must have said, hey, we can actually re-engage with Jace Gate perhaps, with the bonus movement speed, maybe we can lock them down, and we have all 5 members on the bot side of the map too, but I guess the bright side for G2 is I believe 2 waves actually were lost up in that top tower that Bwipo wasn't able to get because of the TP down to bot, which means the Wonder has actually built an even bigger CS advantage down the top side.
25 for the time being, Vedius. That Cull is about to proc for Wonder as well. In the mid lane, Caps is currently going even with Nemesis.
Hilly.
Inverse, he had about a 10 CS advantage at this point, and Hylissang's roam will push him onto Wonder. The Dredge line, I think, got a minion for Hilly, so won't be able to follow up on that one. Nevertheless, they get the flash from Wonder.
Hylissang has just been all over the map. Not just this game, the last game too. For a guy that's been criticized all split long, he is certainly stepping up when it matters and is the main reason I feel like why Fnatic are finding so many advantages in the early minutes.
Definitely one of the players that has been, as we said, one of the most criticized members of Fnatic during the regular season. There were people calling for his head and saying get him out of there along with Nemesis. And when you see their performance in week 8, round 1 of playoffs, and now the first 2 games, you can see the veteranship, you can see the ability, and like Vedas, we were talking about this a lot, where Hylissang just finds the ability to focus and step up when his
look at Reckless.
All right, misses the first shot, tags the second, third goes wide, fourth and final shot will connect, but won't have enough damage to kill Perkz, but it will push him out of the lane.
50% failing grade from Perkz, or from Reckless.
Yeah, that's a D. Unlucky Reckless.
Hey, it still counts for Perkz because he didn't dodge the other 2, right? So that statement applies.
True. They both failed. What?
Yep. What is interesting is that G2 haven't used the Herald yet, and Reckless is continuing to stack up plates. If we can very quickly swap over to the gold observer so we can have a look at the difference. Once again, we see Reckless with a 600 to 700 gold advantages. Fnatic look for a play in mid.
They are indeed. Selfmade's got the lullaby down. Nemesis jumping onto Wonder, and he's going to go down, but he gets the damage! How did the Thundering Blow get the kill? Ends up being a trade of 1 for 1. While that's going on, Dredgeline at the bottom lane. Deadly Flourish comes out. Perkz was rooted in place. He's still got that flash available. And that means that they're not going to chase further. Instead, one loss auto onto the
here
tower.
comes the rest of G2.
Solar Flare from Mickey's available to him. He's going to lock down Hilly under the tower. There goes the flash. Here comes Jankos. Actually stopped to summon the Herald as well. Caps has got the shockwave if needed, but the showstopper comes down. And G2 are back in it. They get themselves a kill, and they're going to push onto the tower.
Yeah, G2 are able to punish in that moment. It starts out with Wonder with the absolute hero play on a sliver of HP. Turns around the kill, but now Fnatic, they're not slowing down.
No, they're not. Want to punch back. There's the taunt flash. Perkz is able to escape as he held onto his flash. The Zenith Blade connects on a Bwipo. He's going to get taken down. The railgun comes up from Perkz. Now Nemesis is the next target. He's forced to flash defensively. He's being run down by 4 members of G2. Selfmade arrives just in time to watch his teammate go down.
What looked like a great collapse from Fnatic ended up in disaster as G2 now sit with 4 kills and a Mountain Drake alive. Beautiful turnaround from G2 to stop the aggression from Fnatic.
Yeah, I just love that play right there. They saw Fnatic were a little bit split up. Fnatic, they tried to make a play in mid lane and bot lane at the same time, and because G2 went even, turned it around.
Yes, indeed, there's
no smite
attempt available to him. It's not going to be able to die. G2 pick up the second dragon, and now Fnatic looking for an opportunity.
Fnatic just got 2 quick kills.
Unbelievable.
The chase now comes through from Fnatic. They're looking to get a little bit more.
Hilly's not done.
No, of course. This man doesn't care.
He doesn't let people recall.
No, he does not.
Set it himself.
And there's the fight now. Dredgeline and Zenith
Even
Blade,
if he dies for it.
Hylissang will go down. So at the end of it all, 5 kills for G2, 2 to Fnatic, but they get the dragon as well.
Reckless will also get the first tower of the game, though. Like, whew, okay.
Look at the gold. The gold doesn't lie here, and Reckless has a big lead.
Exactly. I'm liking what we're seeing here in game 2. Both teams going toe-to-toe. G2 turning it on a little bit more, looking to force these plays and punish some of the over-aggression that we're getting from Hylissang. But the action actually started off in mid lane, with Wonder finding himself a little overextended. The Fnatic engage comes through, but look at Wonder here. The damage just lacking a little bit from Nemesis, allowing him to get the turnaround.
I actually think Nemesis, he just never auto-attacked there. He could have taken down down Wonder much sooner in that play, and then Hylissang didn't have his ultimate. It was about 25 seconds away from coming off of cooldown, so now he's stuck between two towers, and coming off the back of the play in the mid lane, G2 pieced out. They're dropping waves to find the collapse.
And notice the Shen doesn't have the ultimate. The Lilia is dead, which means that it's very easy for G2 to just hard commit to this play. And they wanted to use the Rift Herald anyway. What a better time than now, seeing as they have all their team here and they can give more gold on to Perked. Of course, after this, more action happens, but we're not going to have time for that because the TP flank came in from Fnatic. And again, while initially that looked good because Nemesis had his ultimate, Bwipo still didn't. And the target selection from G2 is actually very good because they shut down Bwipo first, Caps stalled out Nemesis, and then with Shen gone, it was easy for them to collapse as another skirmish kicks off.
Well, Mickey goes in with the Zenith Blade, slows down Selfmade while the Rift Herald is being picked up, and now Mickey's in a little bit of trouble. Solar Flare's available to him. He's going to flash over the wall, get the stun onto Nemesis with the Shield of Daybreak and start to back away. Herald secured by G2. They're still down 1,200 gold, but they do have 2 dragons secured.
Look, the game is getting super explosive. I think the kills were traded really evenly overall, as now Bwipo, he finds Wonder, and Hilly's on the charge.
Wonder's got the flash available to him as well as the acceleration gate, and I think Hilly's going to be happy that Dredgeline didn't connect on the wall.
The important thing is coming out of all of those kills, it has given us a player to look at on each team, because we already saw how much gold Rekkles made off of just farming freely in the bottom lane, the turret plates as well, and then Caps comes out with 3 kills on the Orianna, and after an entire split of carrying G2, game 2 to try and even up the series, he has to show up.
3-0-1 for now. CS advantage, and Fnatic, they did clear out a lot of camps there from G2's jungle. They're 1 tower up, and now they're going to start to back away as Caps pushes that wave in.
And now as the action is resetting just a little bit, want to draw our attention to the XP bars, because you'll notice that Hylissang, he's only level 7 right now. While he has been roaming around the map a lot, he is very far down in how often he's actually been spending time with Rekkles. Now, of course, the bright side to this is Rekkles is sitting at the same XP that Wonder is sitting on, and Bwipo is getting further ahead, so level-wise, Fnatic is doing a great job, but Hylissang is getting repeatedly punished, and while he has had a great game 1, it feels like that G2 is much more willing to react to his aggression this time.
Yeah, G2 definitely have the tools to be able to scrap and fight so much better in this one. I think that the fact that we've seen G2 not necessarily leaving Wonder alone in a side lane, instead playing as a team, is going to be a very good look for them, shutting down a lot of the value of an Akali-Shen combination.
Oh, that's a big ult. That could be.
Is indeed. Lullaby can come forward.
Nemesis is
held onto the trigger. The shockwave catches too. Hylissang uses the Dredgeline to escape to safety, but there's the dash forward. Bwipo gets caught and pulled backwards by Jankos. The slam dunk showstopper sends Bwipo back to the fountain, but the curtain is called by Rekkles, and it will slow down the siege. Here comes Wonder, who's got the shock blast under the tower, and the Zenith Blade finds a target. That is so much damage on the Selfmade. Jankos takes him out, and they're not done yet. Jankos and Wonder pushing forward. 2 quick towers and 2 quick kills for G2.
And just like that, G2 is activated. The entire time, Nemesis was sitting in a side lane. So G2 was like, hey, we can engage on this. We know Nemesis doesn't have teleport unless he walks down. We're going to have that numbers advantage, and look at how they commit to this. They know that they can take the tower with the Rift Herald, and let's keep track of Caps' ball here. Sitting underneath the Rift Herald, they notice it too late. The 2-man ult comes through, and that's the go sign for G2.
It's just such a good punish there for G2, and the amount of engage tools they have, they can keep forcing the fight the way of Fnatic. At some point, Fnatic have to say pull out because they're not calling Nemesis into the play. Here again, Hylissang and Selfmade stepping far forward, and Mickey was able to punish again and again on the back half.
I mean, looking at Caps' performance, looking at the split that he's had, 3-0-3, he starts that playoff with the Shockwave. And this has been the go-to man for G2. Both of these teams are going to Worlds, and it's very exciting to see the level of play that we've already seen in the last 2 weeks of playoffs.
Caps has been involved of 6 of this team's 7 kills, but the huge difference this game was the bottom lane, switching things up, putting Mickey on the Leona. The bot lane also, 6 out of the 7 kills. They have been driving the action for G2.
20 minutes in the game, Infernal is up, and Vedius, it looks like the setup is coming into play.
So right now, G2 is feeling pretty confident. The Orianna has 2 items. They have strong team fighting tools, but just like I drew attention to Caps in the last game, I gotta draw your eyes towards Rekkles this time around. He hasn't completed his 2nd item yet, but he's sitting at 0-0-0. He's lying in wait. He's ready to activate.
Oh, Nemesis.
And now Mickey may have found Nemesis, or has Nemesis found Mickey?
Yeah, there's not enough support from the rest of G2. Nemesis is gonna die.
Oh, that's not good!
That's a double root! The shockwave catches onto Nemesis. Here comes the Stand United from Whippo. It's buying a lot of time. Solar Flare will slow things down for Fnatic, but Mickey is the first one that's in trouble. Showstopper pulls Whippo out of the fight, and Perks takes down Hilly. Nemesis is dashing and running for his life as Whippo is pulled backwards. He dashes through, and he will go down.
And once again, Fnatic find themselves in a fight at a numbers disadvantage. G2 are more than happy to take these and the third Drake of the game.
The coordination is not the same in Game 2 as it was in Game 1 for Fnatic. They need to buckle down because in the chaotic nature of the first 20 minutes of this G2-driven game, Fnatic have not been able to find themselves.
We take stock, 9 kills to 4, 3 Dragons in the advantage of G2, but Fnatic did take down that tower.
Look, you can see that Reckless, he's 1,000 gold ahead of Perks, but it doesn't matter if you ain't going to use that gold, Reckless. 0-0-0. At first I was saying he was waiting to ramp up, but we haven't seen him show up yet. Notice in this fight, he's just looking to reset. Meanwhile, Hillsang and Selfmade, they're getting control over the river. He's forced to cancel the recall, and like,
he's hitting
as
a ward.
said, everything for Fnatic right now is just too split up.
Yeah, Nemesis hit a ward 4 times. That's a control ward. He has to know G2 is on the way down here, and Reckless has no way of entering into the fight. So G2 literally deathballing 5 members to finish off.
Look at how tanky Mickey is as well, soaking up so much of the damage. The W combined with the Aftershock combo just means that he can soak up a lot and just bait Fnatic into sticking on him while the rest of G2 clean up.
And Fnatic will clear out that tower 3-3 at least before 4 minutes until the Infernal Soul is available for G2 Esports. By the way, needlessly large rod picked up for Caps. He's on his way towards that third item, sitting on those free-ass boots and doing fantastically on the Orianna. But important to call out, Reckless does have the eye edge and that rapid fire cannon. So if he can be involved in those fights, could help turn things around.
So, and I feel like when I look at the gold, it's actually a little deceptive, because even though the gold is very close, when you see the Drake advantage that G2 have, but more importantly, you look at the item advantage that G2 have, it feels like that this is very much a G2 controlled game right
Exactly. I mean, we're looking at 3.5 minutes away of a game-deciding team fight when Fnatic are going to risk it all to contest G2 for the Infernal Soul. And at that point, Caps is going to have a Rabadon's Death Cap on top of his other 2 items, and that doesn't feel necessarily beatable for Fnatic unless they're able to find him out, and it really is Nemesis and Whippo then the dive tag team to make it happen.
It's a hunt on multiple sides. Whippo seems to be under pressure. Jankos decides to pull back the Hex Flash. Heli also decides to pull back the Hex Flash. We've seen the G2 Death Ball team fights playing out, but Fnatic, they may be forced to pick another one of these 5v5s around either a Soul or maybe even a Baron. You can see Jankos is going to start stepping forward. Showstopper.
I've seen this before.
Grabs Heli, and he's going to get blown up, sniped down from the mid lane. That shock blast from Wonder, and that's just unfortunate. Fnatic on the retreat get picked off.
Yeah, Fnatic, I mean, they're trying to get vision, but I don't think you need to be playing that aggressively right now, especially because if Reckless isn't with you, it's not a one fight. And even then, Reckless still probably wants to wait for another item when you look at how G2 have been able to snowball Caps ahead in this game. I actually really love how Caps is playing this one too. There's no objective to contest for 2 minutes. He freezes on this side of the map. And then what I also want to see him is like take the Gromp camp. Actually make sure you're funneling your way into that Rabadons before the Infernals.
And I think what's really interesting is, you know, freezing is a hotly contested topic when you look at the social media. But I think what's interesting here is that when you're in an advantage is actually when I love seeing freezing the most, because often when a team, you know, when you fall behind in a 1v1 and you're able to freeze the lane on the back end, that person can then move around the map and look to punish. Fnatic now looking to try and punish Wonder.
Well, flash for flash, by the way. Whippo and Wonder just trading. Wonder is in some trouble, but perfect execution. Nemesis picks up his second of the game with the help of Whippo, showing that he's not out of this yet.
When you freeze a lane, the other team will become desperate to make a play, either break the freeze or punish on the other side of the map, and Wonder, not aware of that, is caught out of position in the bottom lane, and that is a much-needed sigh of relief for Fnatic, who were about to lose an entire lane of farm for nothing in return.
And I was just about to say, like, I think it's easier when you're a winning team, or at least in the advantage, to be able to freeze, because it's harder to punish, and then Wonder ends up overextending, allowing Fnatic to get that kill. You can see the Orianna now pushing that all the way through. If you can quickly swap over to the gold observers, let's see how far away he is. I'm pretty sure that with the large rod that he has,
he's about 400 gold away.
Yeah, because you need 2,350.
2,350.
Yeah, for the upgrade. So he's still a little bit off. Cap's going to grab himself another needlessly large rod. Wonder if he'll decide to upgrade his boots. Yeah, okay, he's also going to do that.
A lot of damage under Mickey, but there's no further follow-up. 40 seconds until Infernal. Fnatic already trying to push these waves out and try to get some form of control, but G2 are grouped up on the bottom, and with the stopwatch picked up as well as the Sork Shoe stopwatch in Perks' inventory as well, those could be crucial at the Infernal Soul fights.
So notice that Nemesis is pushing in the top wave. He's going to look to reset, and he has the TP. He's going to commit the TP now.
He absolutely is coming in, and let's see now where the rest of Fnatic come from. Not going to be enough just yet. Whippo's now moving towards the bottom lane as G2 are grouped up. That death ball is rolling forward and threatening and engage. Mickey sees Hilly but holds on.
I mean, G2 get full control because there's 2 towers down in mid lane, so they fully push the wave and now cut through the jungle. Hylissang is caught out once again.
Absolutely is. Pulled backwards. Nothing else is used. That's a flash over the wall. Now the curtain is called back as Reckless is firing up the shots onto G2 inside the jungle. Swellseed will fly forward and the Lullaby is held onto for now. Nemesis now may be the next target. Shockwave is up for Caps. He's got a lot of damage to use. Nemesis goes all the way forward. The Shockwave catches him. He's down. What was that? Now the turnaround as the Curse of the Black Fist gets another kill. Yankos gets the third of the fight, and Fnatic get destroyed in the river.
G2 own Fnatic there, and Caps found Nemesis with the Shockwave, even inside of the Shroud. Wonder tries to chase down Reckless, but this is not just the Infernal Soul. This will be the Baron for G2.
G2 looking clean as they answer back in game 2. This is the series that we wanted to see. This is the G2 and Fnatic that everyone was hoping for in this best of 5. It's likely that G2's going to take this game.
Oh,
it looks like
him.
Wonder is going to take Reckless's life.
Welcome to the game, Reckless. 0-1-0 at 26 minutes. Whippo now joins the fray. Shadow Dash is available.
Wonder wins this.
Used it a second ago. Look at the hyper. Wonder continues to chase. Shock Blast didn't find a target. Caps TP'd under the inhibitor to help Wonder out. The G2 solo laners who have been so dominant for so long, and Wonder is on a killing spree. The 5th of the game. 409 Caps, 209 Perks, 008 Mickey. These are our world's contestants, world combatants, fully activated. And Wonder's going to be able to escape with his life as well.
So let's have a look back at this fight and see exactly how things played out. So Nemesis gets spotted on a control ward. G2 had information of where Fnatic is, and they recognize that Hylissang is out of position. They try to chunk him out, but they don't overcommit because they know the Shen ult is also a thing. So instead, they take the blue buff, they look to move back towards the Drake. Knowing that Hylissang is out of the fight, they know they have a numbers advantage. This is where they commit to Nemesis, and Nemesis thinks, okay, I'm going to buy time, get the Shen ultimate. The Shen ulti comes through, but it doesn't matter. It just gets popped immediately due to a fantastic shockwave from Caps. The follow-up CC from Mickey onto Selfmade as well, and then that's just the fight done and dusted.
G2 absolutely running over Fnatic in that one, and I mean, it brings me back. That was a really tough position for Fnatic to win, with Hylissang getting caught out and how G2 played the map leading into that team fight, but Nemesis unable to find an entrance here on the Akali. And when I think Nemesis Akali historically, like, this was a pick that was so huge for him at the end of summer playing against G2 in the same match last summer in the playoffs. Fnatic up 2-0, and his Akali got leads, but it couldn't find the mark in team fights. And if he's going to continue to go to this pick, he has to find a better way to enter there because G2 shut him down hard.
And Nemesis last weekend, 2 games of Lucian, 1 game of Cogmore. He's 4 wins, 4 losses on Akali all time, and it looks like Wonder may be able to just take him out, and he does. That was close, though.
I think
that was close.
Okay, for context, Akali had 2 items, and Jace had 4.
Yep. That was a lot of damage from Nemesis, but with his death going down, and now G2 inside the base with the Dragon Soul, with the Baron buff, this will be the push to even out the series. Whippo's trying to slow Perks and Mickey down in the top lane as Reckless is down, and 1, 2, 3 more Fnatic members fall. That's the ace inside of Fnatic's base. G2 in 29 minutes will be evening up the series.
And that's the Caps carry performance we have come to expect this season. G2 working alongside him to get him an advantage, and G2 run through Fnatic to tie up the series.
Unkilled Caps, Perks, and Mickey. What a dominant showing from the 3 representatives. The scoreline is now tied up at 1-1, and Fnatic will get side selection for the next game.
And I think one of the biggest things that Ender highlighted was that the cohesion wasn't there like it was in game 1. I think that when we look a little bit more at the draft, one of Fnatic's game plans had to have been to play through bot lane. When you have Jin Norless and a Shen, your whole goal should just be attack, attack, try and snowball. But I felt like that Reckless wasn't visible. You know, I was hyping him up. I was like, there's going to be an opportunity here where he's going to activate, he's going to turn online, but in every fight, he never had that opportunity. He never got to play because it felt like that everything was just kind of falling around it before the fight even started.
Look, at level 3 in the bot side, reverse self-made burned, or self-made lost his flash up against Yanko's early game jungle matchup.
Yes.
It's so hard to play through bot lane when the enemy team is taking a pick like the set.
I mean, you said it very early on. Do not slow down. Do not let up the tempo. And G2 did not. They kept finding the engages. They kept the pressure on. Now, Fnatic will get side selection for the next game, so they'll get to decide what happens next. I believe we're about ready to go to an ad break. And if we are, we'll see you on the other side with some more post-game analysis. Yes!
Nailed it.